In this video, I'm going to take a pattern intended for one purpose, and I'm going to modify the process and make something different out of it. This is a white-tailed deer fretwork pattern out of Scroll Saw and Woodworking and Crafts magazine. It's intended to be like a wall plaque. I've never done this sort of fretwork. This will be my first one. This portrait type thing. I've done fretwork, but not this particular thing before. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to take this and I'm going to make it into the lid for a box. Make a box this shape, and this is going to be the lid. And this is what it's going to look like. This is the finished product. This is pine. I layered 2 half-inch pines. This is 1/4-inch walnut, and the deer is cut out of 1/4-inch walnut. I believe that's some alder or some kind of a bland type of wood. It came in a seconds package. It's not labeled. And I covered it with epoxy, a clear layer to seal it. So that's the materials. That's what the finished product is going to look like. So stay tuned and I'll show you how I did that. So I got the pattern mounted. I've already started, cut a little bit of it around the nose there. I drilled the holes. I don't know if you can see that. They're really small. That's with a number 68 drill bit. I'm using a number 1 blade, and it just does fit through that hole. You always got to be careful when you're feeding a blade through that you don't bend it as you're laying your piece down, and it's especially true when it's really tight like this. So I keep a needle nose handy sometimes, help me grab it and pull it through. And I'm going to cut some more of it, and I'm going to work on it a little at a time. I'm also using a magnifier so I can see what I'm doing a little better. Okay, to catch up to what I've done to this point, I took this piece that I cut and I laid it on the wood and just drew a circle around it, just traced it, and then made a rough cut on the outside of that. Give me a little overlap there, and I glued this to it, and then I went to the sander and sanded it all where it would be even and smooth. So I did the same thing on my blank for my box. I just drew a rough cut. I'm going to do the same thing there. What I'm going to do is we're going to have, this box is going to have a wall, this lid is going to have a wall on it that slides down over the body of the box. That's what I'm thinking. So it'll be 3 cuts. I got to cut that outer wall out, then I got to cut the inside of the wall out plus the outside of the box. So I've got that all traced, just like I did on the other one. And I'm going to do rough cuts on these, and I'll have to glue this one and this outside ring together. And then I'll have to cut the inside of this box and do a little finish work there. But I also got to cut a bottom. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to use oak to cut a bottom for the box. So right now I'm going to go to the scroll saw, and I'm going to get this outer wall that's going to go on the back of this cut out. The last cut I made was that ring that's going to fit on the bottom of the lid to slide over the box. This will actually be the box. I'm going to cut the inside of it out now. I switched over, that was a number 3 I cut that with. I want to take as little material as possible, plus I wanted as small an entry hole as I could get. So I've widened the hole on this one. I moved it to number 7. I cut that at a high speed, with the saw moving at high speed to make it smooth. This is pine. It's soft, but it'll make a real smooth surface if you cut it at a high speed. So I'm going to try to do this the same way. This won't be a part that slides into anything else, but I want it to look as smooth and even as I can. A quick point to make here, I'm cutting in this direction because I want the waste on this side of the blade, because the blower works a little better if you blow it across the surface. At least on this saw it does, and that's the reason I'm cutting in this direction. It's easier to adjust the air to blow the sawdust. Slides in and out nicely. And I'm going to put a bottom walnut bottom that goes all the way out to the edge, and this will be layered with walnut, pine, and walnut, and it'll be as even as I can get it. But I'm going to try to inlay this with resin so it'll be a solid, clear top. That's going to be an experiment. Don't know if we'll make it work, but that's going to be the attempt. Right now I'm going to cut some walnut for the base. I believe I have finished this deer box to my satisfaction. In full disclosure, the epoxy that I poured that was filmed was not mixed properly. or I had the wrong ratio. It didn't set up solid. It was gummy. I had trouble sanding it and getting it to where getting the bubbles out of it. So I took I cut the deer off and recut it, and sanded down the lid and put this back on and did another pour. And I really like the way this one turned out. I sanded it and polished the edges. I'm really pleased with it. So anyway, this just turned out to be a little simple little box. That's supposed to be a wall plaque, but I thought that'd be a real nice box lid. So I like things to be a little more practical than just hang on the wall, although that's okay too. This is pine and walnut, and I finished this in Danish oil. And this, like I say, that's actually 2 pours to get it to that depth and get the bubbles out of it. I had to sand some bubbles out of it. And then I had to sand the corners down and polished them up. I actually used up to 400 grit or 600 grit sandpaper, and I used a leather strop with some polishing compound to get the last polish on those corners. Anyway, there's a learning curve on that epoxy, that if you've never done that before, and that was my first time ever, so I learned a lot of lessons, and I'll do more of that in the future. I kind of like the way that looks. In the house we live in, it's very dusty. We have dogs bring in a lot of dirt, and we have cats and had cat hair everywhere. So something like that open just would be a real mess. This you can wipe it off nice and easy and keep it clean. And that's one reason I thought about doing that. Plus, I like the way it looks. So anyway, that's the finished product for that, and hope you enjoyed that. And I'll try to do some more things. This is the first time I've done a portrait type thing like that, and I'll try that again. So if you like that, well, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hope to see you in the next video.